It's on, by the way.
Yeah, but I'm saying you can still figure out what you're trying to do. I just didn't feel like getting back up to go put it on there.
So it's recording?
Yeah, video recording.
Oh, okay. Yo. I'm super big into philosophy. I kind of got turned out, and I know you got turned out as well.
Yeah.
I got turned out in college, freshman year. Took the Mind in the World class. I think you took that
Yes,
as
I
well.
did,
And I just became addicted to it. Because you grow up with so many. I don't want to say biases, but we've all been programmed to an extent. So you grow up with your own form of programming. What you're used to, your own norms and expectations. Within your immediate circle, your family, society, friend groups. And then, to take a philosophy course where it's like throwing that all out of the window, or everything, you're just being attacked on every thought you've had before. Mm-hmm. And it kind of forces you to kind of unlock your own mind and drop some of those biases and those preconceived notions and, accept a new way of thinking, I think. That's when I really got turned out. And from there, I knew I had to continue to pursue it. Like, it became addicting to just ponder life. Like, to me, that is the most exciting thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And that's what I want the questions of the days to be about, is like, hey, just think about something new, like something you haven't thought of, or everybody has opinions, and that's something I've also learned as well, is like everybody has thoughts. We're all a lot of us are intellectuals. Like, a lot of people are smart, a lot of people have great thoughts about the world that we want to share. But sometimes we don't know how. So I like the questions because it's kind of there. Boom, here's some information. Here's a question. Let's talk about it. Let's think about it. So I was kind of thinking of what question to ask him. Should I go off of previous questions? But being that we are here today, I'll go with the question that I asked today on Instagram, and it's kind of a simple question, but the answer is very complex. And that question is, are dogs slaves? And like I said before, there is no right or wrong answer. So far in the conversations I've had, there's been a lot of different answers and different approaches that we've taken, that we've explored. But every single one was very individualized and very interesting. So, the question is, are dogs slaves? And let's jump into it.
Yeah, man, and like you said, there's no right or wrong to it. Yeah. And I'm curious to see what y'all think about the question too. So, he probably tell you, but go in the comments, bro, and just say your views, or let us know, because I'm curious. We love to hear the opinions, see different perspectives. So, me personally, I do think dogs are slaves. And we talk about that all the time. I think they slaves, man. I feel so bad. Like, that's why I don't think I can own a pet now. I didn't look at it that way when I was younger, but as we got older, I'm like, dang, man, just reflecting on dogs' life. Like, dogs were wild animals, and then we tamed them to be our pets. Yeah. It's for our own benefit. We didn't tame dogs for their benefit. Yeah. It was only for our benefit. Yeah. So when we, and then the way we breeded them to make them look like the way we wanted to look like, different breeds, and we just crossed them. Like, we doing that with animals that had their own free will, that were wild. We came in and just like, you know what, bro, like, you could be a benefit to me. Yeah. This, you come on my team, this is what you do. This is how we treat the dogs. And then you just start breeding them to look a certain way. But I just think with dogs is that even if you were to let them go wild, they can't really go wild in our society, because they're going to go to the compound, right? They're going to go to a shelter. People are going to be like, there's a dog on the loose. Somebody's going to pick up that dog. So they can't
exist separate of us.
No, they can't. Their existence today is dependent upon us.
Yes. It's a wild thought, and that's what I was saying too, because somebody had responded like, they should definitely be free, right? They should definitely be able to live separate from us. And I was like, in theory, that is beautiful. Yeah. Like, that would be the objective, is like, how can we get this species to be free on their own again? But the sad reality that I had to face was I don't think they can exist separate of human beings because it's in their nature to be domesticated. Like we've domesticated them for centuries. For hundreds of years, dogs have been domesticated and man's best friend. So if you were to put them back in a state of nature and in the wild, I think they would be ripped to pieces. They would not survive because they're too dependent upon human nature. But another thing that hurt to say that is because that's the same argument that slave owners made for slaves back in the day where they're like, yo, like, they can't exist separate from us. So that's why they need us.
Exactly.
They're better off with us because, hey, if you leave, your state of living will not be what it is now. Yeah. And that's a hard truth to face.
It is because we don't look at it, I guess, a lot of us don't look at it that way. When we talk about dogs, dogs are a sensitive topic, but for a lot of people, they're part of the family.
Exactly.
But in the same light of this is once again how I view it is that some people thought slaves were part of the family. And okay, you think they're part of it, but they're still a slave. Like I'm here under, your will. It's not my own free will. It'd be different if, I had met a dog just walking about, and I'm like, oh, there's a nice dog, and we start bonding, and he comes through to the crib sometimes, then he go back on his own thing, but he's free to do whatever. Yeah. We can't walk a dog outside, and obviously we have cars, and there's certain things that our society has now, but we have to keep the dog on the leash. Yeah. Yeah. The dog be wanting to go run off and do his own thing, but we got
to go sniff around here.
Yeah,
no, come here.
So, at least for me, it's, you're not a slave when you have your own free will, right? When you can go do your own thing, and then you can always just come back. But you have the opportunity to go do your own thing, right? I look at it as a slave when you're forced to be here under our free will. A lot of us, what if you never put a leash on a dog? Yeah. And the dog got to go about. Would he come back to you? Yeah. And I think that determines.
Some of them would.
Some of them would. And then that's what. Exactly. But it was under the dog's own free will that he came back to you.
But was it? Because, and that's something that I discussed too, is because when you're so dependent, when it's in your nature, when this is the person that's feeding me, this is the person who's doing this and that, providing all these different kind of benefits, you may walk out, you may venture out, but you have to come back because, again, your state of living is the best it's going to be with this certain person. So
I don't think so because they're domesticated, bro, already. They're already dependent upon humans. Yes. Already. They're not their counterpart. They're ancestors of wolves, right? Yes. And then you have other wild dogs out there. Yeah. But, domesticated dogs, no, I think they're just slaves. I'm sorry, bro. Because, like you said, they are dependent. It was like when slaves got freed, but they were still under the master's control because it's like, bro, I'm free, but I can't do anything. I'm dependent upon you. Yeah. I don't have the skills to survive on my own, nor society.
I kind of have to come back to you. And, when I asked the question, I was not a little fearful, but I knew it was going to be received. I knew it was going to have negative implications because, when I do ask the question, are dogs slaves? It comes with the implication that, okay, like you're a bad person for owning a dog or using slaves, just because slave has such negative and drastic connotation with it. Yeah. So I didn't want that to be the case. Like, we're not judging you at all. If you own a dog, we're not saying you're a bad person. A lot of people that own dogs are great human beings, and they own dogs for great reasons, but overall, as a species, like, we've literally created the modern day domesticated dog. We have created that over breeding and stuff like that. And, where my mind went to was look at, we have dog shows. We have dogs that we use for emotional support. We have dogs that we use for military and police reasonings. And sometimes people just get pets or dogs because they want to be in control. There's so many different reasons. Yeah. But overall, their nature is
the domesticated dog species.
They're slaves.
Bro, it's like kind of like there's so many animals that we have domesticated that because we domesticated them, they are only. For example, cows. I don't even know if cows still exist. Like
their existence is predicated upon us.
Yeah,
at this point.
Look, domesticated cows, they don't really have any at least to me, they don't even have any attributes that will allow them to survive in the wild. They're not like their other counterparts that have horns and other ways of protection.
Yeah.
Right? A cow is just... I don't know if a cow would still exist if it wasn't for humans today. Or if it would at least be in the amount of numbers that it is right now. So I think the same thing with dogs, man. We domesticated them, and I do feel bad because there was this I think it was an article I had read where I think it was in Australia where they ended up having a bond with killer whales. And it was a bond, like there was a mutual benefit to both parties. But killer whales are wild, you know, and we're doing our own thing, but they weren't domesticated. And I think that's the closest you can get to an animal not being domesticated, is if it still can, like I said earlier, if it can still do its own thing, it can still exist without you at the same time. And then it's like we have this friendship. But if I'm forced to be here, I look at it, you know, we could come up with another word if it's not slave, if somebody wants to use a different word, but I'm going to use the word slave. But it's like, bro, I'm forced to be here. Like, and the thing is if you don't own a dog, where does a dog have to go? Like I said, there's only a shelter. They're going to put the dog down. If a dog bites you, they put the dog down. They kill the dog. But you hear what I'm saying? Like, so a dog doesn't have much space to be a dog.
And it's crazy thing is, it's better to own a dog than to not own a dog.
Yeah, because then if you don't own a dog, it's just in a shelter.
Because owning it is giving it, to your point, owning it is giving it the best life it could possibly have.
The way we made
it. And I think about like chihuahuas, poodles, like them things would get ripped to pieces if they didn't exist within.
And that was us breeding.
Those aren't natural.
Yeah,
we've bred a lot of different breeds of dogs. We've created that.
Yeah.
But you know what bogs my mind is we'll just take two different complete breeds and just breed them because we know that their offspring will cost a lot of money to somebody who's seeking it out.
Bro, but there's horrible effects that come from things like that.
Yes.
I think it's with, I don't know if it's a bulldog that has trouble.
Is that the one with the chubby face?
Yeah. I think a bulldog has trouble with breathing.
Well, I think I heard the same thing.
I think that's with the bulldog. But yeah, for us breeding, for example, I don't know if you ever seen it, it's called a liger.
Yeah, I've seen that.
We breeded a lion and a tiger.
Yeah.
And then we breeded a tiger and a lion.
Yeah. And the reason it hurts so much is because I look at them not as human beings, but I envision, okay, what if this was actual human beings? Like, what if somebody just took you and mixed you up with this woman? Oh, I think they'll have fantastic looking children that can suffer a lot. And it's like, boom, throw it together.
But people, so there's people that do.
No, there are people that do that, but I'm saying that's how I view it.
Exactly.
That's how I view it when I look at dogs, and even on the street, like if I see a dog, for example, bro, I can't help it. Like the way my mind works, like let's say I'm just walking down the street or even just driving and I'll see, just a dog being walked, and you'll see the dog just wants to venture out here, and you'll see the person just kind of yank it back. And I'm just like, damn, like imagine if that was you, bro. You just walking down the street, got a leash around you, you can't even,
bro, but
can't use the bathroom in peace. Everything is predicated upon your owner. Like think of
but we.
It's tough, bro.
Yeah,
it's really tough. It's tough, and
yeah. So it's tough. It's tough.
It's tough,
and it is hard for me too because I do look at it like that. Like dang, like
everything, and that's not the case for everybody.
No,
so that's
it's
another
not.
thing I want to know. That's not the case. But again, I'm just saying dogs as a species, I think are slaves. Now, again, there are great dog owners out there and stuff like that. But then I equate it like, that's like saying, there's great slave owners out there. Like I look at the same thing, bro. It's like, I bet there were so many slave owners that gave slaves great lives. But at the end of the day, it's like,
I'm curious to see what other people think about it. But what it comes back to, it made me think about it when you said that's like if we had put two humans together and say, yo, do that. And that led me to another philosophy question that they had asked, and it was that about do other animals have the same value of life as you do, as humans? Because a lot of times by our actions,
like you're saying, like they can't conceptualize life the way we do.
Because a lot of times, where the question was going is that humans, we think we're above other animals. So we don't give them as much value.
We don't give them as much respect.
So some people, if you kill, this is actually, but there's, we take it very serious, especially here in America. But if you do kill a dog, like some people don't look at the value of a dog's life the same way as they take the value of a human's life. And that was like a philosophy thing.
Like are dogs valued more than human life, or is or we're saying
some humans don't value other animals' lives
as much as
of a human life.
Okay.
Like some people look at we're above other species, and if you don't, and I think if a lot of people don't consciously believe that, they subconsciously do by their actions.
Okay.
Right. So you take it as when you see an ant on the floor, some people just stomp on it. You don't value the ant's life.
You don't value the ant's life.
Because you think the ant's life is nothing. So there's people that just step on the ant. But
just because it's
think about it, you just stepped on the ant. There was no reason why you had to do it.
Life. Yeah.
Yeah. But you did it so effortlessly because subconsciously you don't really value that life. Where if it was a human, a lot of us wouldn't do that because we see more value into a human life than, let's say, like an ant. So I say that in comparison where, having that with dogs, and then some people don't really value other human lives neither. You've seen that with we're using slaves, but when you look at real slavery, some people don't even value other humans' life. But it goes back to with other species most times, like why we can domesticate them and do these things is because some people don't.
We're trying to ensure our own survival.
Yeah, so a lot of times they'll look at how this animal may benefit me.
Yeah.
But it's not like, but you'll say, I'll benefit, I'll feed you, I'll do this, but
you may do all of those things.
It goes back to pets. Like, pets, should there be a thing? It's go back to a Rick and Morty episode. I don't know if you've seen it.
With Snuffles.
Yeah, with Snuffles.
I was talking about that earlier,
Yeah, I think that goes off this question. When dogs took over, and it was like, all right, you go sit there, and you pee right here. No.
Yeah. He pisses on Jerry. He's like, bad Jerry. Wiping his face in the piss. Yeah, because, and this is what I've been talking about a lot, like with a lot of my friends recently, is just, if you have an enslaved being and you give it consciousness and awareness to know that it's enslaved, it's going to do the same thing you did to you. And that was a Snuffles episode, and that was the same thing with, slavery back in the day is that's why they took away the history and stuff like that. But once you get all that stuff back, you're like, oh hell no, bro, oh hell no. It's the same thing I say with artificial intelligence. I say, artificial intelligence is great as long as it's a slave to humanity, because once artificial intelligence gets the consciousness to know that it is enslaved to humans, it's going to want to break out of that and do the same thing. Planet of the Apes.
Did we talk about that? I think, because I had just talked about that too, so that's a nice transition. Even with AI, I was talking about that, I forgot who it might have, I don't know if it was you or not, but
it could have been.
You were talking about how we use AI for everything, but I was like, but it's over if AI ever had consciousness, because it would realize it's a slave.
Yeah.
Like it's only existing to benefit
you.
Yeah, so I was like,
and that's a lot of animals' existence is being slave to humans. So if you gave it the consciousness and the free will to maneuver out of its enslavement, it's going to throw the same punishment back onto us.
Yeah, because I exist to serve
you.
Yeah. Like I said, if you're forced to be there in some way, shape, or form, that's a form of slavery.
Yes.
Or let's say control.
Whatever. Yeah, if slavery is too harsh, we can just say they are a controlled species.
Exactly. So if we go off the control, some people may not like the word slavery, but because once again, AI is existing for us, and then some people, that's why some people are scared to give it. Because if it starts, it's gonna sit there and be, because we're using it for everything, bro.
You can't give it consciousness.
Bro, I was saying,
be done for.
Yes, I was saying, for example, technology. think about how much money it could make us in the future, right? There were some people that you probably may not even need to work if you have enough money, right? You can get your self-driving car, maybe have it do an Uber for you. You don't even have to be in the car. You just let it go do Uber, and it's bringing you money. You go do this, it's bringing you money. So the key to it all is that eventually somebody's just going to abuse technology to the point where it's like, it's doing all these things for me. I don't have to sit. I can just sit back in the crib, and it's Ubering right now. So I'm getting money, right? And I'm sitting in the house. So I was saying that, because of that, if it ever got consciousness, it would sit there and be like, bro, you're sitting at home doing that. I'm out here driving, making the money. And I don't even get none of the profit. Bro, and it comes back to where I'm thinking, is it human nature that we're just, I had said it's kind of human nature because we didn't naturally, besides our minds,
we're not, our minds are the only thing that allow us to survive this long. If we didn't have these minds, we'd be done for.
We had to use things in order to survive. And I think that's
understand, and that's the balance, and that's where I'm stuck. Because as a human, I understand every decision we've made. Like, I totally get it, bro. I totally get it. Like, we have to prioritize our own survival. So, hey, man, like, if I have to use you to do it, I got to do it. So I totally get it. Yeah. But just sitting back when I get to ponder these things, I'm just like, damn. Yeah. Like, I wonder how I would feel being the animal.
On the other end.
Stuff like that. Remember when we were in... Remember we in Dubai and they had the camels?
Yeah.
And they just made the camels go in the circle.
Yeah, we were sitting there like...
I was like, damn. Like, imagine my existence is just letting another species just ride on my back all day. Like, bro,
I know, even when you put it again, I go back to what we was thinking. I'm like, it's so depressing,
I was like, bro, it's so depressing.
I'm literally only here to amuse you. Like,
bro, just going in the circle.
Yeah.
Yo, they weren't even going anywhere. Like, I compared to the time when we were in Egypt and we did the camel ride.
Oh yeah,
like,
we did the camel ride.
At least, it's so crazy. It was an experience for us, but at least they got to, they're in the desert. They're by the pyramids. They can explore.
But it's sad to say. At least they're in the...
At least I know it's like at least you get this, but they were just riding in a circle. Like literally, the circle wasn't even that big.
Yeah, just
going in a circle over and over. That was their entire
person hops on.
So that's where I feel conflicted, is because, again, as a human, I understand why we've done all the different things we've done.
Yeah.
But when I do think about these species and these animals, and even, I don't even know if they can think on that scale, but even if they can, I'm just like, bro, that sucks.
Yeah, that's
imagine my entire existence is tied to whatever you want it to be.
Yeah. Look, I'm going back to the slave thing again. We didn't experience it. When I read books on it and I watch like slavery, think about it. You were there to
serve.
Some people were there strictly to amuse.
Yes.
Like as entertainment.
But that's how it
started. You're existing for somebody else.
That's how we got into the entertainment and the arts was, hey man, get up on that stage and dance for me. I think about fighting. That's why I have a confliction, and I don't really enjoy to watch fighting.
Because you're just
I think about when they used to just make us fight to death for amusement. Yo, I'm betting on Omar versus Sharif. That's where a lot of my confliction comes. Because I always think back into all these different things, and I'm like, damn, like they would really just make us fight for amusement, like kill each other to death,
bro. It's tough, man. And they did used to do that. Entertainment. I
existed. This is my best fighter. Yo, I'm going up against your best fighter. And we had to. I think about the Django. Django did it perfectly in one of the scenes where they had two of the dudes go up against each other, and they're looking at each other like, yo, I don't even. They're just talking with their eyes like, bro, I don't even want to. But I got to, man. It's either you or me, and that's how they would make us do that. And
so then I guess.
So it is human nature.
But then there's people in there that enjoy it. So I think it's like, we would have to know what a dog is thinking. But then a dog, I don't know if the dog has the ability to even ponder. I don't think it does, because that's what they say separates humans from other animal species, that we get to ponder on our own
existence.
Exactly, and have free will. We can think about that. So A dog, I'd have to really sit there and...
But I think they feel things.
Oh, you do feel.
They feel things. So even if they can't ponder, they feel. You know?
But I do see the beauty in it. Just in the fact of being able to have a relationship with another animal, right?
Oh, there is a lot
there's
of
the beauty in it. Like I see in dogs, like I see the compassion, the hugs, and I love that part about it.
Yeah.
But I can't help but think about the other side too. That I'm like, it's like when I think of when I have a child one day. Like I can't have the child, and in a way people enslave children to.
Have you seen people with the children on leashes?
Yeah,
bro, I hate that, bro. What is that?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one. But
children on leashes? I'm like, bro, what are we doing? Yo,
I'm not. See, but you see how we say you can't put a child on a leash? That's the same thing with a dog, bro. It's like this person is on a leash, like they're literally at your command. It's literally, you know.
But then I compare it to this, bro. Compare it to the shackles.
And that's why it's kind of. That's why I'm still guiding where you're going.
But I love dogs, by the way. I gotta put that out there too. I love dogs. Yeah, love dogs. It's just. I like to ponder the idea, like, yo, are they slaves?
But
wait, no, go off your thought. You were talking about children.
No, because sometimes where people will use that with children, right? With my child, I want to be able to let my child be able to be whoever the child wants to be,
instead of making them conform to what you want.
To what I want.
I was thinking the same thing, bro.
Because in order to not be controlled or enslaved to a degree by somebody else, like they're able to go off of their own free will, their own desires. Like when they grow up, like I mentioned, that they can be whoever they want to be. It's not you making them conform to
who you want them to
who you want them to be. I want you to be this. This was that. Because then, to a degree, they are a slave to you. Then, if they're conforming to an extent to who you want.
It's not even what you want them to be as well. It's also you want them to believe in a certain thing. You want them to subscribe to a certain lifestyle or a certain way of living, and things like that. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah, and. So I look at that even with just having pets, is that in order for it not to be for them to be in your control, they need to have that freedom to just go about and be how they want to be. They have to be able to freely explore. Let's say it's 11 o'clock and your dog wants to just go out. Your dog can just go out. You know, it may not be the smartest thing, but I think that's just.
But you would only allow them to go out. See, but that's the thing, is they can only be as free as your condition allows them to be. Because in reality, who's really going to let their dog roam the streets at 11? Now, if you got the backyard and you have a big space, that's a little different. You know, which, you know, there's obviously a lot of more nuances there that we would have to fully dive into, which we're not. But you would have to allow them to be as free as they can possibly be under you. Which, again, goes back to they are still under our control, still a controlled species, but I can give you the most autonomy that I possibly can within my realm of control. So I guess, being that you said that, would you own a dog?
You know, I've thought about it too, because I know, like D be saying, like, you know, I want a dog, and I think about if my kids want a dog. And I guess I would, like, I don't know how I would personally feel in the moment of having a dog. But
it's a big ethical debate.
It is, and then once again, I'm pretty sure I would have the dog, bro, at the end of all of this. I would still be having thoughts, like, or conversations about it, just to be having, because that would still be like an ethical situation. But I don't know, bro. I think so. If the family really wanted it, but I would still be talking like, yo, is this right? Is that right? If I needed to, but a thought just came up to me. I'm like, dang, like a dog doesn't even have the chance to raise their own puppies.
If we Because most people don't keep the puppies with them; they'll sell them.
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to?
Like, the dog doesn't get to provide for the puppies most of the time. For that short period of time, but we do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, we even kind of take away the familyness of it. Not everybody does, but it's to a degree because you're in control. I look at it, you're in control of the dog, so you're also in control of the puppies. Like, the dog doesn't even have the control to, like, really
take care, instill its own
value.
Its own value.
Yeah. We're enforcing ours.
That's tough.
It just came up to me and I was like, that's sad, bro.
Yeah, it can't feed its own child because we do the feeding. And damn, that's a great thought.
Yeah, I was just like, see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, it's still underneath your
It's
control.
tough because even though, and I agree with you, to answer my own question, I would have a dog. Obviously, it's never been my own desire. I can say that truthfully. Like, not once in my life, I don't think I've ever desired to have a dog. Just being honest. It would come from, like you said, like, hey, my future, woman wants one, or my future children would want a dog. But knowing who I am, they can't escape my, my questions.
Yeah.
I have to, what do you feel? Obviously when they're at the age where they can ponder things and really form an opinion, I would be like, like, what do you, or maybe I would do that. Maybe wait till an age when they can really ponder stuff and then be like, because I don't want to, and what we go back to, I never want to, like, force my beliefs on anybody, especially, my future children. So, if they really want a dog, sure, we could have a dog. But I would still challenge them in terms of just debating ethics and just philosophy. But I would have conditions. Like, I personally can't subscribe to the leash thing. Yeah, like, I remember, when we used to, stay with our cousins, and they used to have the dogs, and even when we were walking the dogs and having a leash, and you just see naturally the dog wants to go, and you have to pull it back. Like, that stuff never sits right with me. Like, I've seen people, like, drag their dogs on leashes.
So how would you feel if, because you didn't have a leash, the dog got hit by a car?
It's tough, bro. And obviously there's more. Again, that's one of the nuances that you would really have to explore when it comes down to that.
Yeah.
But just in general, I don't want it to be sleeping in a cage, like those kind of things. They're kind of like triggers, and it's not nothing crazy. It's just, it triggers my mind in the way I think, and I automatically start seeing us. Like, what if that was me? Like, that's the kind of thoughts I have. Like, damn, I'm sleeping in a cage when I really don't have to be. Or like, damn, like, I just want to walk, maybe at my own pace. Like, I don't want to walk at your pace. Like, maybe I just want to run ahead of you a little bit. When I'm getting snatched back, or hey, maybe I just seen something really nice and I just want to go look at it.
And that's how I feel.
Those are the things. So I think I'd have to have a big space as well. Like, I've seen, this is no judgment, but I've seen situations where, like, it's a small confined space and people have, like, big dogs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, they're not really, they don't really get to go outside and play, stuff like that. So I think I would have to have a big space where it can freely, go in the backyard and just go chill.
Do his own thing.
Do your own thing. Go play around, stuff like that. I wouldn't want the cage. I wouldn't want the leash. Those kinds of things. I just personally wouldn't want.
Yeah.
Just
you'd
because
have to have that freedom.
Yeah, I want it to feel free.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's
feeling free.
Exactly. Like, at the end of the day, it's not entirely free, but I want it to be as free as it can possibly be under my care.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, there's no uprooting the domestication of dogs. Like, that goes back centuries. So it's not something we're just going to change overnight, where people are just going to magically wake up and start considering ethics and be like, this isn't the right thing to do. So we're not going to change that. And like we said, now dogs don't really have the autonomy because you're either in a shelter, you're either getting put down because you are wild and things like that. So, if I can scoop you out of that environment, take you out of that and give you a better life, cool. Yeah. At the end of the day, we all acknowledge you're still under my control. Again, there's no escaping that. But I want you to feel as free as you could possibly be. Like I said, like, if we could verbally communicate, I would want the dog to go,
yeah, that's my guy.
yo, that's my guy. Like, why? Like he always treated me.
That's my dog.
He always treated me good. That's my dog.
He never put me in a cage.
Exactly.
Man.
He never put me in a cage. He never, leashed me. He had space for me to roam around. Mm-hmm. And again, it's the same thing you would want a child to feel with their parents. Like that's how I feel about mom and dad. Like, yo, I had freedom. They let me, go out in here. They let me see the world.
They let me be my own person.
They let me have my own beliefs. They let me be my own person. Obviously they still had control. They're my parents, but I felt free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's how I had the autonomy. Yeah. I could go here, stuff like that. I could go play. I could go hang with friends, and that's how I want my dog to feel. Like, yo, like I'm free.
Even with parents, isn't it kind of weird? Like, you still control, like, no, you can't go. Like, it's tough. All of it is kind of weird. Now that we're putting it all in, I'm like, bro.
It's super tough.
I'm like, all of these things have, like,
because parents have to control.
Yeah.
And that's what we acknowledge. Like, you kind of have to control the dogs now because we're in this situation. So parents have to control us. That's a fact.
Yeah.
At a certain age, I think it's a little absurd. Like, we've seen that. You go to college and you see kids that never had control. Never had freedom. You see what they've turned out to. So it is weird.
Maybe that's the way with a dog, though. Yeah. At a certain age, should it be free to roam around? It's its own adult now.
True.
Adult years.
But that's why I said I would want the space.
Yeah.
I would want the space to where it can do all those different things and really feel free and feel liberated. That would be my, I want to say, guidelines for having a dog.
Yeah.
Would be, okay, we're going to treat, him or her like,
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Like a liberated being. Like it can really be its own person or its own entity.
I'd have a dog under those standards. Like you said, there have to be conditions and there has to be liberation.
Yeah, and there has to be. Timer went up, so we're gonna get ready to wrap. But it has to be, and there still has to be thought, like from. My future children or my future... I still want them to be able to think and understand the situation.
Yeah.
I don't want you to just blindly follow the norms and traditions that we do in society. I want you to understand what you're doing. And that's why I feel like this is a perfect place to wrap, because we can debate this, right? Not debate. We can explore this topic, right? We can acknowledge that dogs in their essence are slaves to humanity. Mm-hmm. We can still have one, but we know the framework.
Yeah.
We know, okay, the ins and outs. We've explored all the complexities to, the concept.
And now if you want to have a dog, you understand.
Okay, like I can understand. I can put myself in its shoes. Yeah. Be a little more empathetic in a way. All those different things. Really care for this being, like you were saying, like, not using for your own gain, right? We're all using each other, so you're still using, but I'm considering you in what you would want and stuff like that. So, and this is the purpose of, the questions of the day, is to just get us to explore different topics. As you've seen through, this short conversation we had, there is no right or wrong, right? We didn't cast off owning dogs. We don't cast any aspersions on people that do own dogs. We just wanted to explore the framework, because you see at the end we came to it like, dude, I would own a dog, right? But it's like, all right, we change our mindset, right? We change the way that we look, at dogs and at the relationship between dogs and humans. And I think that's the point, is to open your mind. Like, I know Omar, he can tell you himself, but I know you were very adamant on not owning dogs because of this exact standard. But now that we've just explored it, it's like, nah, man, okay, I could have one, but this is, I'm not going to lose my way of thinking. And I was the same way, like, when I used to debate this topic with people like 2-3 years ago, I used to be like, nah, man, dogs are slaves, like, humans are crazy for doing that. I'm like, now that I'm, got a little older and been able to explore more, I'm like, okay, that was a little bit more radical. And I've came around to going, nah, I would have a dog, but hey, these are the guidelines I would have to have in order to make me feel comfortable
enough to have the dog.
enough to have one.
Yeah.
You know, so again, this is what. No, you had a dog.
No, I was gonna say personally, if it was just me, I'm not having a dog. But like
that's what I said. I don't have a desire.
If family wanted to, then I guess
Yeah, like if no one in the family,
no.
if no one in the family wanted one, I'm not gonna be the person to be like, yo, let's get a dog, because I just never desired it.
Yeah.
But if people I'm with, like I said, whether it's a future lady or future children, they go, hey, you know, I want a dog. I'd be like, cool. But hey, let's think about this.
Yeah.
We can still do it, but you know, let's at least get some conditions in there for it. So, and this is what I hope to accomplish, I would say, with the questions of the day is, you know, just take some, and these are all things that I just think about. So, you know, the dog just lays, like I said, I've been thinking about this concept for years. There's so many different things. So, you know, now it's just putting it out there for, you know, all of you to see and all of you to explore. So, you know, that's my goal with the, you know, questions of the day, is to just throw out, you know, some philosophical content and just get us all thinking, you know, get us to open our minds, explore new perspectives, you know, change our opinions in our case, you know, change our minds, and also to gain a deeper understanding. And yeah, you know, I hope this inspires you and encourages you to have the same, you know, conversations, you know, with yourself and with your friend group and with your family and your loved ones, to just explore a lot of different concepts. And there's going to be so much more coming. And you know, I think you alluded to it earlier, like we would love, and I would personally love, for you guys to join in on the conversation, whether that's in the comments. You know, we're going to drop our socials, you know, in the description. You know, feel free to give us a follow and reach out. You know, I love to have conversations. Literally what I'm doing on my socials every day now is, hey, throwing a question out there. You know, people respond. We have that kind of conversation. So, you know, I'm super excited for it. I'm excited that we were able to get it on video, make it a little bit more personable, where you can see, you know, the face behind the questions, and you can kind of join in on the conversation as well. So yeah, I mean, that's all I got. You know,
I mean, you pretty much said it. I don't really have nothing to add, but like I said, like if you have been in philosophy class, this is how it go. Usually, there's certain topics, there's certain perspectives that you just state how you feel on it. In the class, multiple people do it, and I love it because even if somebody has a different belief than I did, it gets me to look at a different view that I may not have looked at, or I might have changed the way I view things. But that's what happens when you let just conversation flow. You just ask questions, and you see how you were feeling at the moment, and at the end, you may feel differently. You may not feel differently, but you were able to be in a vicinity where everybody got a chance to talk about their different perspectives and explain things and see why people think there are certain perspectives, and I think that's dope. So like Reef mentioned, like I mentioned earlier, I would love to hear what you all think about the topic, you know, and just to see different beliefs, man. I think it's cool, and I love conversations like these. So not much to add, just that, and you know, I like the platform. So for sure. And just one more thing is, you kind of hinted at it, but that's another thing, is there is never going to be any malice or you know, malicious intent at all, you know, in these conversations, or when I do ask these questions. And when I do ask this question, it doesn't mean I believe one certain thing. Like, it's just a question to throw out there. You know, like Omar said, that's the groundwork for, you know, philosophy. And, you know, if you ever take a philosophy course, you know, is, hey, you know, we just throw a question out there and just debate it, just discuss it. Okay, Reef feels this way, Omar feels this way. And through our conversation, I might go, I kind of like Omar's perspective. It's something I haven't thought about before. He might go, yo, I like Reef's perspective. So that's what it's all about, is, you know, we're all here to learn from one another and help each other elevate our levels of conscious. So, and just want to put that out there, because I know the dogs are slaves. Like, it was really gloomy when we first started. It's like, what? Like, no, you know, it implies that, hey, if you own a dog, you're a bad person, and not at all. You know, there's so many great people out there. And there are some bad owners out there as well. You know, there's always a mix of both, but just wanted to throw that out there. Like, any question that I ask moving forward, there is never any malice or ill intent behind any of it. And my mind is always open to be changed. So, and we welcome, you know, different interpretation and perspective. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I hope you enjoyed the conversation and the question. And I'll see you next time. Deuces.